So the federal court has ruled that the appeal by Syabas against the decision of the Court of Appeal should be dismissed. There were two questions that were raised in this appeal. The first was whether or not the defense of what is known as a Reynolds privilege applies only to journalists, or whether it applies to journalists and individuals. So in that respect, they ruled that it applies to both journalists and individuals. And the second question was whether or not the defense of justification was properly pleaded by Tony Poa in this case. According to what is known as the Lucas Box principle, the federal court ruled that the pleadings were correct. They were consistent with what was required with in law. And they also ruled that the finding made by the Court of Appeal that Tony had succeeded in his defense of justification was correct, as a result of which, in the upshot, it was their finding that this appeal by Syabas ought to be dismissed. So that basically is the short of this decision. So in essence, in the High Court, Tony lost. He was asked to pay 200,000 ringgit to Syabas. That was set aside by the Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal ordered Syabas to pay 50,000 costs. That appeal, of course, came up here, and today that appeal has been dismissed, which means that the finding that Tony has to pay 200,000 stands reversed, and the federal court ordered Syabas to pay an additional $25,000 cost for today's appeal. So that really is the sum total of it.
So the judgment today, how do you think it will affect other people who might be commenting on it?
I think, well, it really comes, that's the point, isn't it? Reynolds would apply to them.
Yes.
Of course, if they write something and they communicate information by way of that writing, then they can claim the defense, the Reynolds privilege. But of course, Reynolds privilege is something that you have to study it as well. There are conditions that you have to meet in order to be successful in raising that defense. In this particular case, you note that the court looked at those conditions, and one of the things they said was that Tony's response did not succeed. Tony's defense of Reynolds, Tony's defense using the Reynolds privilege did not succeed, because they were of the view that he did not state in totality all that information that he was personally aware of when, of course, he was at the forum. So they said that because of that, they found that on the facts it was unreasonable, because he knew, according to them, a lot more, which of course he could have divulged at that point of time. So here's a case whereby you see the court saying that there is the Reynolds privilege. That defense applies here in Malaysia. But on the facts of this case, the defendant did not succeed. But of course, on the second ground, which is justification, he succeeded, and it's tried that in any defamation case, the plea of justification is a complete defense. So once you succeed in justification, that means you win, because in essence, the court agrees that what you said was justified, and therefore the question of defamation doesn't arise. Okay, thank you.